Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. Welcome to one of my canal series and the second episode in my Secrets of the Stroudwater. Today it is actually Secrets of the Stroudwater Canal. Remember last time we were looking at the origins of the Canal, that long abandoned adventure not far from where I'm currently standing, just outside of the town of Stonehouse in Gloucestershire. The topic of today is what's behind me, and if you're familiar with the Stroudwater Canal at all, you'll be very familiar with the location where I'm currently standing. I have lots of books about the Stroudwater Canal, including famous ones written by Joan Tucker and Michael Hanford. But few of them mention about the origins of this behind me, the ocean. The ocean regained popularity some 2 years ago now. In fact, it was some of my earliest videos after I returned to Gloucestershire after living in Cornwall. And that was all because of this bridge here, this railway bridge, which carries the main line between Birmingham in that direction, well, Gloucester and Cheltenham, Birmingham in that direction, and down to Bristol in that direction. And it had to be replaced because it was formerly a little culvert, a little kind of ancho holding up the canal, or the little trickle of the canal that was running through here. That direction, by the way, takes you down to Upper Framelode, where the Stroudwater links the River Severn. The other way is towards Stroud and the Thames and Severn Canal at Wallbridge. So lots of people had a great deal of interest here when this bridge was being replaced. Not least of myself, I took lots of photographs, certainly did some videos. It was how the canal series started, really, how the update started here on West Country Wanderings. And it brought a lot of people into this area, perhaps hadn't discovered this part of the canal, or indeed the Stroudwater Canal, at all before. For some time, it begs the question of what is the ocean, how long has it been here, and what was it built for? Before all that, I'm going to tell you and explain about that. I've only recently found the answer to that out, similar to how I found out about the Canal, is that there used to be vineyards in this area. You have to go back to Roman times. The Romans discovered Stonehouse as being an excellent place for growing grapes. Yes, you wouldn't believe it, but in this part of Gloucestershire, the soil here is very fertile for growing grapes. And there used to be a large vineyard behind me here. You can just see that low-lying row of building there. It used to be a long barn. It's now been converted into apartments, and along there was a large long vineyard which runs along the lane that connects this part of the Stroudwater up to the main A419 road, thence to the M5. Grape growing and vineyards still happen in this area. There is a large one on the slopes of Devereux Hill because it is very well drained. Now, also behind me at this point is another building called, now it's the Stonehouse Court Hotel. Used to be Stonehouse Court, and before that it was Stonehouse Manor, believed to be the oldest building in the town of Stonehouse. It's an important part of our story, but it's not the reason that the ocean was built. Originally, in some of the history books on the canal, it was thought that the ocean was formerly a fish pond or ponds for managing and hatching fish to provide the needs of the nearby manor. But recently a map came to light which completely eradicated any such ideas of this being former fish ponds providing food for the local manor. Nothing to do with that at all. The map reveals all. Now, 3 maps exist which clearly show that the ocean, did not exist prior to the building of the Stroudwater Canal. One of the maps of the area was commissioned by one Levi Ball in 1729. He inherited Stonehouse Court, Stonehouse Manor as it was then. Unfortunately, there was a fire in the court in 1908, and it was believed the map was completely destroyed. However, copies were made. The map was made by Stephen Jeffrey in 1730, but later owners of the court, the Marling family, who are well known in this area because of the mills, not least of which Stanley Mill, they decided, with the invention of photography, to make copies of the map, 3 copies in fact, and one of the copies of those now hangs currently in the Stonehouse Court itself. I believe another one is in Gloucestershire Archives, and it shows a great deal about what was here before the canal was built. Now, what was here was lots of fields and buildings along that side there, which now has been restored into housing. But what wasn't here was any sign of the ocean on the map whatsoever. So if the ocean wasn't here before the Stroudwater was built, how did it come to be built here? Don't forget there was no railway then. This came long after the Stroudwater Canal. But what made the canal owners have this here, whatever it was? Well, to look at that, we need to have a look at the streams in this area. Now, as you already know from part 1, running parallel to the Stroudwater Canal is the River Frome, confusingly also used to be called the Stroudwater. That just lies, well, just about 20 metres or so just to the south of where I currently am. All 3 variants of it for reasons you'll understand if you've seen part 1. But there was a stream, a feeder stream, which went from where the town centre is now of Stonehouse into the River Frome, running in a north-south direction, heading south, joining up with the River Frome in the meadows just behind the camera here. Of course, that was all before the canal was built. That stream was called the River Caudle, and it ran parallel to the lane that comes off the present-day A419. Now, that stream presented a bit of an obstacle or challenge to the builders of the Stroudwater Canal. What to do with the stream, because the water would have been coming right across at 90 degrees to where the canal is, and the canal is at this point here in Stonehouse is built up at a higher level above the River Frome's floodplain. Well, what they decided to do was add the Caudle stream into the canal. They thought it would provide water, a good source of water for the Stroudwater, and then they wouldn't need to build any aqueduct to get the Caudle stream underneath the canal. So problem solved. Now, they decided to connect the Caudle stream up to the Stroudwater Canal here at the ocean. And if you look at the ocean from a map, you can see the shape. And at that tip, down that end, that's where the Caudle stream enters the Stroudwater Canal. Now, like any major construction project, even these days, the builders of the Stroudwater Canal needed their equipment. They needed barges for all their equipment, a lot of it obviously done by the canal navvies, but there was still some equipment that was required. And they used this part here, where the Caudle stream joined the Stroudwater, as an impromptu, well, kind of bay, if you like, for the barges and all the equipment that was needed for constructing this section of the Stroudwater Canal. After the Stroudwater Canal had been completed, this then became an impromptu winding hole. Although it wasn't designed as such, it was a convenient place for the barges and narrowboats to turn around here, just outside the town of Stonehouse. Later on, the Midland Railway actually put a siding just on the embankment just above where I am, so there was a convenient point for loading and unloading goods here, although there was another one off the Nailsworth branch which came later further along near Ryford. After that, this became a place of leisure as well as used by people using the canal, the Stroudwater. There was a boathouse added here just the bottom of the embankment of the railway. That was there for a number of years, and it appears in the photo actually at the start of this video in that little sequence there. That is of the ocean. You can see the siding there with some goods trucks on it as well. After the canal closed in the 1930s, this then was no longer used as a through canal, but it became a place for people to admire and for leisure for the local people who lived in and around the town of Stonehouse to enjoy nature. It's not quite the end of our story though, because when the Act of Parliament to build the Stroudwater was passed in 1774, there was no agreement about land ownership in this area. And there was a dispute between the proprietors of the Stroudwater Canal and the people that lived and owned nearby Stonehouse Court. In fact, that was not resolved until autumn of 1884, when a seal, the proprietors of the Stroudwater, was put on a Bill of Rights of the land and also signed by William Marling, who was the then owner of the Stonehouse Court. Today, the ocean on the Stroudwater Canal is a peaceful place for local people to come and enjoy the sights and sounds of nature. It's a nature haven. In fact, a couple of years ago, when the railway bridge was put in, this all had to be drained and there was dams put in at either end of it so they could get the new bridge in. 2 years later, you would never think any of that happened, and now it's completely returned to nature. Good to see swans, coots and moorhens and kingfishers from time to time in this wonderful natural haven for people to enjoy. So that's it for this particular episode of Secrets of the Stroudwater. Thank you for watching the channel today. There'll be another part of the Secrets of the Stroudwater in the not too distant future. If you like this sort of thing, please consider a like, comment below, or perhaps a share to someone you think may also be interested in this part of the fascinating history of the wonderful Stroudwater Canal. Until next time, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on the channel again very soon. All the best for now. Bye bye.